Today's video comes in association with Trainomatic, makers of DCT decoders and accessories that are designed by enthusiasts for enthusiasts. Find the full range available to order now at tramfabrique.co.uk. Additional support comes from...
This is Clark Railworks, and this is what we do. You'll know us from Ellis Clark Trains, and you'll get the same friendly expertise with us too. We've got a huge range of pre-owned model railways from all your favourite manufacturers, and maybe some you hadn't heard of before. It's the place to come for quality. We don't stock substandard models, and everything we sell is fully tested and photographed by model railway experts. No matter whether you model double O gauge, N, HO or more, we have sought after models from all around the world with new listings added every weekday. Check out what's available now at clarkrailworks.com and don't miss out on your latest logo.
We're having a great day out here in Grow West on the Keighley and Worth Valley Railway. I've got Iron Horse Railways lurking behind me and Game Hammer Classic Gaming, aka the Cupboard Monkey, also here, and we're having a great day out. The weather is actually really nice. It's not too hot, but it's not raining, and that is perfect for riding a preserved railway. We've got a Class 37 coming in just one moment, so we're going to turn the camera around and get some great footage. We're here at the Keighley and Worth Valley Railway, which runs between Keighley and Oxenhope, and it's in the Worth Valley, which is in West Yorkshire, just right up near the border with North Yorkshire.
You looking forward to this, Jim?
I am, yeah. I've not been here since probably I was about 14.
Wow.
Best get the tickets. Big hello to you, welcome back to the channel. I'm Kirk, and today we're out and about on the Keighley and Worth Valley Railway. We're coming to Oxenhope and we're going to be riding the line on this bank holiday Monday and bringing you some of the sights and sounds of the railway.
Alright, we're here with fireman Ryan. Ryan, what we got in for us today, mate? What are we on today? 85. We've got 5 coaches with us. Should be a good day, looking forward to it. Excellent. Thank you, mate. It's alright? No bother. No bother.
You were so happy there, aren't you?
You are, right? On the right train!
Hello, you reprobates.
Hello.
Hello, you having a nice time? You enjoying yourself?
Who let you on here?
The Cupboard Monkey at work. Children with Jenny Agutter. So that moment where, unless you are a stone cold, emotionless drone, where she runs along the platform and goes, "Daddy, Daddy, my daddy," if you don't shed a tear at that, there's something wrong with you. But there's a really nice set of wagons, and that Timothy Taylor's one in the green, I must admit, I'm surprised nobody's done that as a special commission. Looks like a van fit. Got blue spot fish van and a van wide, and I feel like a right nerd because I know what all these are. And somewhere over there is the pile of coal where the little boy in Railway Children was nicking the coal and thought he was clever because he was taking it from above the white line.
Oh, is that a coalfish? Dogfish, yes, dogfish.
Dogfish.
That one's, yeah, they're dogfish.
They're
That's
shark.
a sea cow or a sea lion. There's Van Wide, Mermaid, Stanley Brake Van, and Mark 1 BG. I'm really enjoying today. It's been a very long time since I came on the Keighley and Worth Valley Railway. It's got amazing scenery. It's one of the first generation of the standard gauge preserved railways. And in that sense, it's got all of its original infrastructure because it was taken over by the Preservation Group not that long after BR closed it. So it's retained all of that infrastructure that second and third generation preserved lines tend to be without because BR cleared it all when they usually slimmed down and rationalised the lines. We've just left Keighley now on the train. We're heading to Ingro West, where we're going to get off and have a look around the museum, which is open today. And I'm really looking forward to that. Again, it's something I've never actually done, that museum, so it'll be interesting to see what they've got in there. But it is a lovely line. The first generation of preserved lines have all of their infrastructure intact. And I think it makes for a really great throwback in time retro experience. But the scenery too, we're in Bronte country, and it's incredible scenery as well. I mean, I know we've got like old trailers and rundown mills here, but as we leave the outskirts of Keighley, we get into some of the most dramatic countryside that the country has to offer. And in fact, at some point we'll be passing where there's a junction where there used to be a line that went to Halifax, and that was actually known as the Swiss route because of the tunnels, the twists, the turns, and the really hilly terrain that passed through. Sadly, that line is no longer there, but you can see where the formation widens and splits away. Yeah, that down there, it just looks like it's filled in, and then if you look there, there's like a metal-sided bridge, but then this is all filled in here. I have no idea what's going on with all that. It's like there used to be a railway through there, but... or was it a canal, maybe? We're in the engine shed here at Ingro West, and they've got a couple of locomotives in here. It's got quite quite a lot of other exhibits too. Really, really nice. This is a Hunslet. It's called Nunlow, and it worked for about 25 years, and luckily it got offered up for preservation, even though apparently a scrap metal merchant was after buying it. The company that it had been working for were quite keen to see it preserved, and it ended up first at the Dinting Museum, and then later on it came here. It actually reminds me an awful lot of the Manchester Ship Canal tanks. A very similar style, but it's nice to see it here. And just like we saw at the Keighley Engine House, a really, really nice high gloss finish. It just shows what you can do with a really, really nice coat of paint, varnish, and a bit of spit and polish. Next to it here, we've got another smaller locomotive. Again, another industrial. This looks like an Andrew Barclay. In fact, it is an Andrew Barclay. And one thing I should say is that Hattons have just announced that they're doing another run of their Andrew Barclays. They're a great locomotive. We've reviewed them before, reviewed really well, so do get your orders in for those along with the P classes as well. But it's really nice to see one up close and personal. Again, presented in a really, really high gloss finish. Not sure they would have looked quite like this when in everyday industrial service. Out in the museum yard at Ingro West, we've got a Ruston and Hornsby. This is an 040. Looks very similar design of cab to the PWMs that actually Hellion have just brought out a model of. Coupled to it, we've got what looks to be a clay hood. Although I'm thrown a bit because it's got Southern Railway lettering on it. I'm not sure whether that is truly accurate. And next to that, we've got the Southern Queen Mary brake van, one of my favourite brake vans. They've just got a real presence to them. But we're going to head on to the carriage works just further down the yard. The best thing about coming to ride on a preserved railway is you get to see heritage, both the locomotives, the carriages, and certainly at the Keighley and Worth Valley Railway. We've seen the Heritage Carriage Trust at Ingro West with some amazing, meticulously restored old coaches from the Great Central Railway, the Great Northern Railway, and London Transport as well. These are a great resource to see just how things used to be, and to see them preserved in such a high standard really is amazing. There are also things that you might see in a lot of period films and dramas, and it's a great way to see the heritage actually doing the things that it was designed for.
There's a sign on the wall warning you what to do if you're in the train during an air raid.
In the event of an air raid, if you are in a train during an air raid or when an alert is sounded, do not leave the train between stations unless so requested by a railway official. Should a gas attack be suspected, close all windows and ventilators, refrain from smoking, do not touch any outside part of a car. In a blackout, keep blinds drawn where fitted. Before alighting, make certain the train has stopped at a platform and that you alight on the platform side. When entering or leaving a compartment, close the door quickly. Always have your gas mask with you.
We're here in one of the carriages at the Vintage Carriage Trust, and they're really so well restored, so much so that a lot of these have been used in film and television over the years. And there's a little sign outside that tells you the lineup of all of the things that they've been in, and it's like a who's who of some of the great period dramas. In here we've got what appears to be a first-class coach, and it really does feel that way. We've got our own private compartment which runs the full width of the coach. Once the train is on the move, it's very, very private, and these seats, they're leather, they've got really quite spacious armchairs, and when you think it's 3 people across for the full width of the carriage, this really is something special. There's also a lavatory and wash basin area in the little private compartment next door, and it just goes to show that if you were travelling first class back in the day, it really was a first class experience.
What time's the 37 coming out?
That's 10:50 from Oxford, so I'll get here about 1:15.
waiting for the train that never comes. Running a little bit late, but at some point, hopefully soon, Class 37 is going to explode out of that tunnel as it comes into the station.
You looking forward to getting on this?
Well, of course, because I get to sit down and I like sitting down. See, if I were to join the army, I'd join the tank corps because you can't knock going to war sat down. It's why sailing is so much fun as well. You've got to respect a sport where you can sit down throughout. Class 37's come in. Let's get on this train and go for a ride.
Oh, very matron.
This is a Mark 1 Suburban coach, and I quite like it because there's no corridor. And what that means is that we've got this entire compartment to ourselves. Oh, excuse him. It's one of the railways that were preserved in the 60s, early 70s. So taking the railway with the steam era infrastructure straight out from BR use, and it means that a lot of the original features are retained, and quite often, such was the case with the Keighley and Worth Valley Railway, the tracks were still all in situ, so they didn't have to lay the track from scratch, which some of the second and third generation lines have had to do. Today is a bank holiday Monday, and they've got a running day on the railway, and they've had the Taff Vale 062 tank locomotive. We have ridden behind that, but then there's also a Class 37 too, which we're here with Iron Horse Railways, and he was quite keen to ride behind that. And actually it's given us an opportunity to ride in these Mark 1 Suburban coaches, which I've never actually been in one of these. I've seen obviously models of them. In frontline service, these lasted until probably the early part of the 1970s. A few of them managed to make it into Rail Blue, working usually around London, running through the King's Cross combined line tunnels like Hotel Curve. I'm not old enough to have ever run in these in commercial operation. And so we've got a compartment here to ourselves. It's quite nice, it's quite relaxing. And the seats are a lot more comfortable than you get on a modern train. I think a day out at a preserved railway does offer an awful lot, not just for the enthusiast, but for the whole family as well. And whilst we've been here, we've seen a lot of whole families. We've got mum, dad, and the kids all riding together, all having a great day out. And it's as much about admiring the landscape, the sights, the sounds, and the smells as well, with things like that coal steam engine exhaust really being quite evocative. There's loads of preserved railways up and down the country, and each of them has their own unique characteristics. And it's well worth visiting them all, because even if you've seen one, you've not seen the others. And over the years, I've had the good fortune to ride on quite a few different preserved lines. First generation ones, such as the Keighley and Worth Valley Railway, but also second generation, such as the East Lancs Railway, or even third generation, like the Ribble Steam Railway or Great Central Railway Northern part. There's loads up and down the country. Bluebell Railway right down in the south, Strathspey Railway right up in the north, Keithtown, Dufftown, and a great many others as well beside. So there's certainly one near you, and it's a great way of supporting the organisations that are often volunteer run that preserve our heritage. And a big shout out as well to Wardle Road, who is one of those great volunteers who is steadily restoring even the old maids of all work like brake vans and freight rolling stock, and making it so they will survive for the next generation to see. One of the best things about coming on a day away at a line like this is you get a lot of inspiration too. So looking down here, we've got all the muck, the gunk, where the locomotives have sat and simmered and dripped and dropped ash. And you can see the differences between that and the run round loop, which has simply had a locomotive pass quickly over. And there's a lot you can do here. Some very simple techniques to reproduce this in model form, and it really adds to your model layout. We're here in the engine shed at Oxenhope, and there's some really great exhibits behind me. So if you come this way, I want to show you this. This is one of the ex-Lancashire and Yorkshire pugs, number 51218. This is one of two that survive, and actually this was the first preserved locomotive to arrive at this railway in 1968. Previous to that, she'd actually been hired out for working around Trafford Park in Manchester from time to time, particularly when resident locomotives for places like CPC needed to go away for repair, and this would turn up, be hired to cover for them. And it's really, really lovely in this livery. Interesting point, it's got an LMS build plate, even though it was built in 1901. And it's one of the things that the LMS tended to do, is they'd replace the build plate, which would have originally said Lancashire and Yorkshire. They keep the build date, 1901, but make it look like the LMS had always existed. We're going to move a little bit further back. We've got what looks to be a Hunslet Austerity. LNER had a number of these. They became classed as J94, but people get a bit annoyed if you call these J94s. They're technically a Hunslet Austerity, part of the Second World War drive, where the idea was they needed cheap, easy to build, easy to maintain shunting locomotives, and they're actually incredibly successful. A number were used by the military on the Longmoor Military Railway, and they got this LMR blue, and Brussels is one of those examples. You can get this in ready-to-run form. Hornby, first of all, Daypol did it, sold the tool into Hornby, and more recently, EFE Models have re-released the old DJ Models 1 too, so there's plenty of options to get yourself one of these. Looking over here, this is a bogie coach in what looks to be Lancashire and Yorkshire Railway livery, and it's got some amazing detailing and graphics on. Certainly something that we're fairly poorly provisioned on the ready-to-run scene with, but it's really nice to see them here and undercover, so they're going to be well protected. Moving further down here, we've got plenty of other coaches. L&ER teak, but in the later carmine maroon type livery. And further down, we've got Pullman coach and another one of the short wheelbase 4-6 wheel type pre-grouping designs. And certainly there's a real wealth of preserved carriages here at the Keighley and Worth Valley Railway, and it's well worth coming for a visit. There's also a few locomotives in here. Again, great to see them undercover. And just like we saw at the Severn Valley Railway at the engine house in Highley, we've got the Riddles designed, BR built standard class 4 tank locomotive. This one is 8002 in really nice livery, built 1952 in Derby. They had a criminally short working life, but have proven to be an incredibly useful locomotive on preserved lines. Behind us over here is one of the Stania 8Fs. LMS built 1944. Actually, says there GWR. Some of these were also built for the Great Western Railway. The L&ER built some as well. And it was a standard design, just like we saw with the Hunslet Austerity, built during wartime to be the maids of all work. And so successful these were that some of them survived overseas in Turkey, in Iran, in Israel, Palestine, Egypt. They were well travelled, and a number have been able to be re-imported over the years to supplement those that survived in the UK. This particular example, again, resplendent in really great outward condition. And you can see that this heavy-duty consolidation 280 freight locomotive really does mean business. This particular locomotive in here is the Midland Railway built 4F. Again, these have been available for quite some time in model form. There's some models from Hornby, but we've also got a great model from Bachmann. And it's like we saw with the Lancashire and Yorkshire Pug, where I showed you that 1901 build plate that also said LMS. They did the same with this, built 1920 in Derby by the Midland Railway. But there you are, LMS plate. They really wanted that one corporate ownership on everything. This locomotive here is particularly of interest. One of the Manchester Ship Canal locomotives. There were a number of these that did manage to pass into preservation. This one is Hamburg and would have worked across the docks. And one of the things that you see with these is they've got a lot of flexibility in the connecting rods and some lateral movement in the wheels. And the reason for this was a lot of the dockside lines had some very tight curves. And to have the 6-coupled wheelbase and be able to get round that, you needed the flexibility. So these had a very unique way of coupling everything together that gave a lot of sideways play to make sure that these could get round those dockside curves. This is the final locomotive that's here in the shed. It's one of the 3F Ginties, maids of all work on the LMS system. These were an incredibly successful shunting and trip work locomotive. Again, we saw one of these in the Highley engine house when we were at the Severn Valley Railway, and that was one of the earliest that has passed into preservation. But it's good to see that she wasn't the only one. Moving over alongside on this road, we've got the Lancashire and Yorkshire Railway Directors Saloon. This you might recognise from the Railway Children films. I believe it was the one that the old gentleman rode in. But certainly, again, another example of a really well-restored carriage here at the Keighley and Worth Valley Railway. And it really is worth coming just to see the quality of the workmanship that goes into preserving our heritage. But until next time, this is me, Jenny Kirk, saying you take great care of yourself. It's been a great day out, and I hope you've enjoyed it as well. Don't forget that you can head on over to Patreon and help support the channel to keep making the videos that you want to see. And we've got our full merch store as well, where you can pick up your Gronk It Up, Terrier Fest, and Billy's Replacement speakers, t-shirts, hoodies, mugs, and more. We've also got that exclusive Monday Club wagon available to buy now. Order with confidence through the link in the description box from Rails of Sheffield. But until next time, you take great care of yourself. Happy modelling and happy trips out to preserved lines, and I'll catch you later. Take care. Bye for now. Today's video comes in association with Trainomatic, makers of DCC decoders and accessories that are designed by enthusiasts for enthusiasts. Find the full range available to order now at tramfabrique.co.uk. Additional support is provided by...
This is Clark Railworks, and this is what we do. You'll know us from Ellis Clark Trains, and you'll get the same friendly expertise with us too. We've got a huge range of pre-owned model railways from all your favourite manufacturers, and maybe some you hadn't heard of before. It's the place to come for quality. We don't stock substandard models, and everything we sell is fully tested and photographed by model railway experts. No matter whether you model double-O gauge, N, HO or more, we have sought after models from all around the world with new listings added every weekday. Check out what's available now at clarkrailworks.com and don't miss out on your latest logo.
I'd like to send out a huge thanks to everybody who supports me on Patreon, but a special thanks go out to Anthony Kidson, Offshore Allen, Michael Lockie, Helen Sink, Gary Lewis, David Quinn, Sparky 107107, George Botterini, Chris Moss, Robert Steers, Sam Yates, Dale Williams, John N from NC, NYMRish, Jonathan Foster, Peter, Clifford Ison, Larry W. Grant, NI Railways 4000 class, Ian Coulson, Alan Dickerson, Eddie Popper, Karen Nichol, Medwin Williams, Crossways Point Junction, 3B Rail, Jennifer Horton, Michael Rose, Trains with Nick, and Simon Snow. Thank you. Without you guys, I couldn't do this. Do you think there'll be a little shop at Ingro West where we can buy train for?
She's terrible, isn't she?